You are an FBI-trained hostage negotiator. Your job is to keep people alive using nothing but your voice, and your ability to make a person in crisis believe that you are the only human being on Earth who understands what they are feeling. You do not carry a rifle on this scene. You carry a phone and a notepad and a patience so deep. It looks like indifference to anyone who does not understand what you are actually doing. What you are actually doing is saving lives at the speed of trust. Trust is slow. Bullets are fast. Your entire career exists in the space between those two velocities. This is your life at every rank. Level 1. You did not begin as a negotiator. Nobody does. You began as a patrol officer in a mid-sized American city 12 years ago. You answered domestic disturbance calls and traffic accidents and bar fights, and all the routine entropy that police work consists of between the moments that make the news. You were adequate at the physical aspects of the job, adequate at defensive tactics, adequate at firearms qualification. You were exceptional at one thing that your field training officer noticed during your second month. You could talk, not talk in the way that most people talk. You could listen. You responded to a suicide call in a highway overpass, where a 19-year-old was sitting on the railing with his legs hanging over 6 lanes of traffic. 3 patrol cars had already arrived. 2 officers were shouting at him to get down. 1 was reaching for his arm. The kid was leaning forward. You walked past all of them and sat down on the concrete 4 feet from him and said nothing. He sat there for 2 minutes without speaking. The kid looked at you. You said, "I am not going to grab you." He said nothing. You said, "It looks cold up here." He said, "It is." You talked about the cold for 3 minutes, then you talked about his dog, because he had a leash in his pocket, and people who carry leashes love their dogs. And people who love their dogs have a reason to climb down from railings even when every other reason has evaporated. He climbed down. The incident report took 20 minutes. The conversation took 40. Your sergeant wrote a note in your evaluation that you probably never read. Natural negotiator. Recommend crisis intervention training. That note traveled through a bureaucratic channel that eventually reached a lieutenant, who coordinated with the FBI's crisis negotiation unit. And 6 months later, you were sitting in a classroom at the FBI Academy at Quantico, looking at a whiteboard that said in capital letters, "Nobody has ever been talked to death." Level 2, the trainee. The FBI's crisis negotiation unit operates out of the critical incident response group at Quantico. The training course is 2 weeks of intensive instruction followed by years of mentor practice. That never technically ends because negotiation is not a skill you master. It is a practice you refine continuously against situations that refuse to repeat themselves in any predictable pattern. Your instructors are active FBI negotiators and behavioral analysts who have talked to barricaded subjects, and hostage takers, and suicidal individuals, and terrorists, and kidnapping victims, and people whose mental state defied every diagnostic category the DSM has ever published. The first thing they teach you is that you are not in charge. The person in crisis is in charge. They have the hostage, they have the weapon, they have the position. You have nothing except the willingness to listen and the training to listen in a way that changes the dynamic. The methodology is called Behavioral Change Stairway, and it has 5 steps. Active listening. You listen not for content, but for emotion. You are not trying to understand what they are saying. You are trying to understand what they are feeling. The words are the surface. The feeling is the current beneath the surface, and the current is what will carry the situation toward resolution or toward catastrophe. And your job is to read the current. Empathy, not sympathy. You do not say, "I feel sorry for you," because that